What it do, big crew? It's your boy Savon Thomas, back with another episode of Coffee and Comments. Today we're going to review the movie The Impossible. Was it good? Was it bad? Let's talk about it, but first, let's take a sip. Welcome back. Again, this is a review of the movie The Impossible. Came out in 2012, older movie, but actually I saw it trending on Netflix, so I decided to give it a watch. Overall, was not very impressed by this movie, but there's some lingering thoughts I got from it that actually make it a decent film in my opinion. So for those who don't know, The Impossible actually stars young Tom Holland, very, very young Tom Holland. Actually has his little brother in the movie as well, Harry Holland. Also has Ewan McGregor in the movie and Naomi Watts as well. And it's basically the story of this couple. Got a new job in Southeast Asia, and they're at this resort prepping for like their life to live in Asia, getting things together. And you can call it a tsunami, but this huge tidal wave hits that area and just decimates the entire area, right? And they're at a resort, and you just see it's this ginormous, within the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie, this ginormous wave just comes and sweeps through and destroys everything, right? Everybody's flooded, they're being slung down, that, I don't know if it's thousands of miles, but mile after mile, they're just in water, drenched in water, everything's covered, literally the treetops are covered in water. That's how big this wave was. And then like the story of like them finding each other, essentially. The mom and Tom Holland's character are together. The mom sustains a bunch of injuries, which is very interesting to me. I was watching, I was like, how is she this injured? Like, she's in water, but she's also like hitting trees. She's getting poked by stuff underwater that normally you wouldn't have to deal with if you're in regular water, but because the water is so deep and it's in land, like, you're just getting cut by all types of random stuff. So I kind of understand. Naomi Watts spends a bunch of this movie just like yelling, which kind of pissed me off. I'm like, okay, I get you're hurt, but like every 5 seconds she's like, ah. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, I understand you're getting injured, but like you're yelling every 5 minutes, kind of pissed me off. So they're doing that. So the mom and Tom Holland's character are like figuring their life out, trying to go to a hospital. Then you have Ewan McGregor's character who has the other two boys, and he's trying to figure out where they're at. Kind of leaves his kids with random people on an island. That was kind of threw me off too. But overall, like, the story is a very slow story. Outside like the huge tidal wave, nothing really happens. Like, they're just trying to find each other. There's like the beautiful scene at the end where I'm gonna spoil it for everybody. If you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. But like, overall, the movie was kind of dull. Honestly, like, it was very boring to me. For me personally, that's my viewing experience. Some people might love this movie. They might be like, man, this movie was fantastic. There's so much just like people trying to find their kids. Okay, cool. For me, give me some more action. Like explain where the tidal wave came from. Explain some different stuff, right? That, for me, that kind of bored me with this movie because they didn't explain anything. Like, it was just like, tidal wave hit, trying to find your family. Saying, end. But what it did make me think about is like, everything that happens from, because that's it's not based on a true story, but I mean, tsunamis happen all the time, natural disasters happen all the time, and as a person that hasn't really been affected too much by like a huge natural disaster, I mean, I live in Dallas, Texas, very landlocked. Like, we have some tornadoes, we've had stuff like that, but never like a tsunami or a hurricane I've had to experience. And so, as a person that hasn't had to deal with that type of stuff, you see stuff on the news and you're just like, oh man, that sucks, but it's the only thought you give to it. But there's so many more lives that are affected that you don't even think about or even see on the news. You may see on the bottom ticker of CNN or Fox News or whatever news outlet you support, though they're both corrupt. You see at the bottom ticker like, oh, this happens, hurricane happened, hit Florida, or hurricane hit Hawaii, or some small island, or Puerto Rico, this situation happened. Like, you hear all these different stories, but you don't really think past that, like, the lives that were affected. And so this movie, for me, just made me think of the lives that get affected by these disasters, right? When I hear stuff on the news, do I actually have empathy for these people? Do I think about, like, what's going on in their lives? Like, most people, no. It's just like, it's a blip on the radar, and they're worried about their own life and what's going on in their own life. So if anything I got from this movie was just more a healthier respect of like natural disasters and like giving back and helping people out. So for me, that's the biggest takeaway. And so if that's a takeaway, I think that's a good takeaway from this movie. Overall, this movie was boring though for me personally. So I gave it a 5 out of 10. Check it out if you want to. If you have watched it, let me know in the comments what your score was or what you thought of the movie overall. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to the episode of Coffee and Comments.